I would like to talk to you a little bit about contamination. And I'm sure this is a bit of a consternation for a lot of folks here that you get those halos. You've pulled a pretty cool channel and then you got that halo and you're like, nutso, how am I going to get that out? So here's how you're going to do it. A couple different ways. We're going to talk about contracting a selection. We're going to talk about using a filter, minimum filter. Love that filter. We're going to talk about painting with color. We're going to talk about adjustment layers. We're going to talk about matting and decontaminating color. So those are the things we're going to talk about here. Now, this is the area I was telling you about that not every technique is right for every image. So I'm going to show you some techniques in this particular image that you wouldn't want to use. But you might want to use it for another image, and I'd rather go over it so you have it. Cool? All right. So the first one I want to talk about is contracting a selection. So there's a selection of her. Again, we don't care about her face. You can always load a selection, which is a mask. A mask is a selection, right? Command click on it. Command click on that icon of the mask, and I've loaded the mask, and I'm on the mask, and I'm sitting here thinking, what would I like to do? Well, I could modify, contract. So I'm just going to choke the mask a little bit. 1 pixel. All right, here's where I really want you to pay attention. What's selected? The girl or the background? The girl, exactly right. So if I want to make the mask a little tighter, I need to invert or inverse the selection. Command-Shift-I. I'll do it on the menu here so you can see it. It's Command-Shift-I. I've now flipped my selection. Now the background is selected. And now I'm going to hide these marching ants just so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to Option-Delete because black is my foreground color, or I can hit Shift-Delete and pick black, and I'm going to basically choke the mask. I'm going to undo that for a second. That is choking the mask. Okay, so just select and inverse. Why would you choke it? Well, if you have a halo, that's why you choke it. Oh, but I lost all that good bit in the inside. Doesn't matter, we're going to paint it out. Do you remember how I said earlier? You want to do a tighter mask, like a cut into your hair and then paint over. Okay, cool. So that's one technique for compressing your mask a little bit. I'm going to go to my history and make sure I go back to the beginning here. Again, I'm going to show you a few ways to get to the same spot. Another filter I really, really dig, which hardly anybody uses, is Filter Other Minimum. Love this. All right, what minimum's going to do, it's going to choke the mask. It's going to come in. I generally do it a pixel. The size of your file will determine how much you do this. If you have a 150 megabyte file, you're going to do this more than a 20 megabyte file, okay, because it's a pixel width. So when you do minimum, it's going to choke. The mask is, again, let me zoom in close so you can see that. Do you see that? It is subtle as hell, and it's fantastic, because oftentimes when in our business you have just that half pixel of white, just teeny pixel of white, and you need it. The minimum filter is rockin' awesome. All right. Another filter you might want to use that will not necessarily choke, but I think I should talk about it real quick, is the, do I want to talk about this here? Yeah, I think I do. Is the diffuse filter. So sometimes when you paint a mask or cut it, it's a little hard edge and it looks a little awkward. And you know when you have a photo, and it's going to sound odd, but when you have two things that are melding against each other, you want just a little dither, a little noise, if you will, on the edge. The diffuse filter is fantastic on the mask, and I generally do darken only. I think her hair is so wispy, you're not going to be able to see this, and you might need to trust me on this, but you can hit darken only, and it will give you a really fine dither. This can make the difference between something looking stripped in or not. Okay, so again, that was filter diffused on darken. Okay? Let's turn this back again. All right, so we're talking about halo right now. Tools of the trade. Please, dear God, have a pressure tablet. Please, do not try to do this with a mouse. Please. I have to tell you, my 25 years experience, there's one guy I know who's a retoucher, who's good, who uses a mouse. One. Hi, Roman. I know you're out there. He's really good. The only guy I know who does it. Works for CW. He's fantastic. So please use the proper tools of the trade. All right. We talked about...
Lisa, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to interrupt, people will definitely be asking, what is your preferred tablet of choice.
Am I allowed to say the name?
Sure.
Wake 'em, whack 'em, woo. Love it, love it, love it. I'm a size queen. It's true. I would have one this big. I had one for 15 years that was juicy big. This is the biggest you can get now. Don't need that. You don't absolutely need that at all. I know folks who make quite a handsome living working on a tablet that's this big, and I kid you not. So by hook or crook, you need to have one. You must have one if you're going to be a professional retoucher, period, paragraph. I don't care who you are. But you don't have to have a big one. And what are those, about $100, them little ones? And you can get them refurbished. They're, it's a little like this for me, but if that's what you need to get started, rock on. They have Cintiqs, which I don't particularly care for a Cintiq because you're drawing over the actual image. And I'm too used to doing this. Doesn't mean they're not fantastic, just not what I'm used to. And they're like really expensive. They're like $2 grand. So yeah, $100 bamboo, you'll be fine. Another method for defringing or getting rid of a halo is painting with color. So what do I mean by that? Ignore that hue saturation that's there for just a second. What? Look at that. So a way of getting rid of a halo is painting with color. So what you want to do is make a new layer, Command-Shift-N. I'm a quick key girl, I like them. Command-Shift-N, and you're going to clip it to the previous file. That means it'll clip to the file that's underneath. And what you want to do is simply paint. So I'm going to take my paintbrush. I'm going to select a color. I'm going to select a color very slowly. There you go. And just for this demo, I'm going to do this a little heavy-handed so you can see it. You want to be gentle. Did I mention earlier that fast is not always the way to go? Mm-hmm. Fast is not always the way to go. Sometimes the key to success is going slow. Now, this is obviously too much, but I want you to get the idea. Oh, another thing I want to remind you of when you're doing demos and whatnot, reset your tools. That should have been on normal. I was looking at it thinking, that's a little neon. Let's redo that. Option click, selecting a color, and painting. Now keep in mind, we're going to be painting over the hair, so I don't mind if this is filled in, because I'm going to be painting hair on top. And in fact, this might be where you want to start saving some time. And what I mean by that is getting rid of the big glaring bits quickly, because you're going to paint hair over it afterwards, all right? But this should take some time. This is not a 2-minute exercise. This should take a minute or two. Take your time. All right, I'm going to get rid of that layer. Now, an alternate way, but a very similar way, is to use an adjustment layer to do the same thing. So in this instance, what I did, I'm going to just fill this with black for a minute. In fact, let me check my setting. It was 30, 55, 34. Here's what I like to do. I often like to make a selection around the hair, hold the Option key, and I'm going to use hue saturation for this one. You can use levels, you can use curves, you can use selective color. I'm going to use hue saturation. Why did I hold the Option key? I held the Option key because you guys, being good working professionals, always label your layers, right? Always. Please, I beg of you. And what I probably should have done at that same time is group it or clip it. The quick key for that is Option. Click on the line in between. Coolio? All right. So here's her hair. And what I can do is click on the icon for that adjustment layer and go over here to the hair file and click on the hair somewhere. And look what Photoshop does. Photoshop says, oh, you want to adjust the reds? Cool. And you can adjust the reds, you can change the saturation, but more importantly, in this situation, we want to change the darkness, right? And I can't remember what I had it set at, so I'm going to cheat real quick and look. 30, 55, 34. 30, tab, 55, tab, minus 34. I'm totally cheating right now. Oh, that totally wasn't it. Oh, hello. Did I say I was in the reds? Yeah, you want to be in the reds. Pardon me there. Let's go right back to the reds. I should tell you that's a little trick also in photo, or not trick, it's a watch out. When you're on this icon for the adjustment layer and you click on the hair to select a color, and it takes you to a color like yellows or reds, if you go away from that and you click back on, it takes you back to the master. Oh, samana gimana. That's me not swearing. So please watch out for that. Anyway, so when you adjust the color to whatever it is you want, dark, light, extra color, red, yellow, whatever it is you're looking for, what you then do, you don't want to colorize the whole piece, no. You want to paint in just on the edges. Make sure your hairbrushes are set. And again, do you remember I said earlier, not every technique works for this hair? And her saturation is way too high now, so I'm going to bring this down. So that's another technique. Again, I want to stress, you can do this with levels, levels, curves, selective color. All right, I'm going to stop on the adjustment layer, and I'm going to talk about decontaminating. Decontaminating. So, what do I want to say about this? I want to be kind to Photoshop, so let's be kind. This has gotten a lot better over the years. It hasn't always been fantastic, but it has gotten better. For decontamination, what you're going to need to do is you're going to make a copy of your, I'm going to throw this one away, of your masked out image, and you're going to leave the mask on. I like to leave the mask on. I'm going to turn off the bottom one just so I can see what's happening, okay? So what have I done? I've made a copy of the layer, and I've left the mask on. And I'm going to go to color decontamination, all right? Ooh. Do you see that before, after? And what that's going to do is take out the edges. I really like it on this one. On this particular hair, I like the decontamination. Now, I'm going to turn that mask off for a section. Shift, click. Sweet Jesus, what has it done? What it's basically done is it's splattered or expanded the outer color hair over the image. But it's perfect. It's exactly what we need. We're not going to panic. We're going to leave the mask on. And because we have good professional practices, you always leave the original that does not have that in case you come back or your client says, oh, we need to change it. Or you could do this. You could clip that to that hair. Please don't over-apply your mask. What do I mean by that? I mean, I can't tell you how many files I picked up from other people where they've applied every mask they've had, and I need to go back and fix this one thing, and I can't because it's gone. They've thrown it away. So please don't throw your masks away. Save them, put them in folders, name them. Cool. So decontaminate, easy to use. The key to remember is leave the mask. Leave it on there, leave the entire layer. Do not, basically don't crop her out. I actually say cutting a mask. I don't know if I've said that. I tend to say it. In the old days, we used to do masks with ruby lith. So that's why they're red. Like if you turn them on, they're red. That's because the product you used to use, there's got to be someone who knows that here. Thank you, honey. Was ruby lith, so that's why they're red. And we literally cut them out. So it's why we sometimes say cutting a mask out. Choking is condensing. Constricting, and it's generally, I'm going to say, a ½ a pixel. You can do it more, but if someone says choke it, they're talking about ½ a pixel or a pixel. And I'm telling you, when you have something up on Sunset Wall on Hollywood, that ½ a pixel matters because you can see if you have a mistake. So it's an important little ½ a pixel. Don't discount it. Contamination, like a toxic spill, I don't know. Well, the background color is along the edge. Or if, let's say you photographed me and the blue light over there was really hot and I had blue on me, we'd call that blue contamination. Unless you like it, then you call it some pretty soft light. I don't know. But does that answer your question, you think?
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Rock on. Defringing. Defringing, you must apply your mask first. So what do? You just do a Command-J, make a copy, Command-J, Control-J, I think is you PC folks out there in TV land. And let me go back to layer, to all under layer. Defringe. 1, 2 pixels, 3. Let's just do 2 for giggles. And it's the same idea. It's actually spreading out. Don't worry about this section in here, because we're going to fill that in. It's spreading out the color. Again, some of these are going to work. Here's a quick tip for work. When I have a job, and like this, I consider this a job, and I have this image, I go through every single one of these fast. I don't know which one's going to work. I have no idea. So, okay, quick. Let me try the painting. All right, that's okay. All right, let me try a defringe. All right, that's all right. Let me try color decontaminate, and let me try matting. I will tell you, I think it takes me less than 5 minutes to try each one of these. And then I pick, and then I go to town with it, okay? So defringe, and then remove matting. So on remove matting, it's the same thing. You need to apply the mask. This one absolutely does not work on this hair, but I still wanted to show it to you. So you make a copy, Command-J, you apply your mask. I'm going to turn the bottom one off again, just so you can see it. Layer, everything's under layer. And then, well, is the color behind her lighter than her or darker than her? It's lighter, so you do remove white mask. Absolutely does not work on this. But on some ones, this is a treat. So please don't be frightened off by how it looks here. Try it on another image, and I think you might be pleased with some of your results. Cool?